Hello friends, welcome back. This is ML with AP. Let's learn comprehensions and its various types. So in the previous videos we have already seen in detail what is an iterator, iterable, iterator type, data types. Okay, so comprehension is built on top of it. Let's see what comprehension is. The plain simple English meaning of comprehension is like to shorten, right? Or to give a gist of it, right? Or to give a gist or summary, right? This is comprehension, that you write something, the full book is there and you comprehend it into a paragraph or something. That is comprehension. In Python also it is not different. You are shortening, you are comprehending something which is probably going into few lines into one line. That is comprehension. And there are various types of comprehensions. We have list comprehension, we have dict comprehension, we have set comprehensions. We'll see that in details. But before that, let's take an example. And with the example, it will become very clear that what we are talking about. What is comprehension, why it is so important. And if you encounter in some code on Python somewhere, then you shouldn't be surprised, right? So let's see with an example and jump over to our IPython notebook. Okay, over here. Okay, fine. So let's start with a list comprehension. So typically, if we have to write a very simple for loop over which is iterating over a list, then I will write that for I in range 10. Range is an iterator type object, which we already discussed. I can do that. And what we are going to do is we have already created an empty list L. We are going to append this empty list with I, the squares of I, right? My favorite example, the squares. Okay. And we are going to simply at the end print the value of L. Okay. Let's not print, let's just run it. Okay. And we are going to print L over here. What L is given? The range was if you see my range was nothing but I did a list constructor to print it out. My range was 0 to 9. If I'm printing range 10, 10 is not included from 0 to 9. It's a 0 based. In Python, we always start with 0, right? And we are doing a square of it. So 0 square is 0, 1 square is 1, 2 square is 4, and 9 square is 81. Simple, right? Now we have written what? We have written a for loop. Now can we make it more comprehensive, more concise in a single line? That is what comprehension is all about. Okay, so let's try to show you that how we can write the same thing in one line. Let's try to read it. Python is very beautiful in the way that it's always readable. Okay, so let's see. So when we are putting the square bracket, that means we are constructing a list. That much is clear, right? Let's go inside what is happening. If you go from the left to right, then what we are doing? We are doing the squaring of some variable which is I. We don't know what I is, but let's move on. Here we are writing for I in range 10. Now range 10 is an iterator, so it is 0 to 9 value, we already know. For I, so I is iterating over 0 to 9. That is also clear. And what else it is doing? It is doing I square 2, like a square of I, right? So if you see from left to right, it becomes very evident that this particular code and this particular for loop is not different, right? Here we are writing it in 3 lines, we are appending, but here we are doing it on the fly itself. And let's run it. Okay, and voila, the answer is 0, 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 81, which is same as what I was printing over here, right, in L. So this whole 2 or 3 lines can be made very concise, very readable, very beautiful in this list comprehension way. So friends, if tomorrow you encounter something like this, you should immediately recall that, oh, okay, this is a list comprehension. It is nothing but a for loop in a beautiful way. That's what it is. Okay. Now let's see that what is the structure of this list comprehension. Okay. So it will always be in terms of this, right? Let me write it down and then explain to you. Its generic form will always be this type for list comprehension. This is for list comprehension. Okay, so this is not the most generic form, but most of the time you'll see list comprehension like this, right? So there will be an expression over an item for the keyword will be there for item in iterable. Now to give an example, what we were doing over here, let me copy this and then it will make more sense over here. This is my expression. My expression, I is my item. This is my expression. I'm squaring. I might as well do any operation. I plus 1, I multiplied by 2, any expression. It has to be an expression which needs to be performed on I. Okay? And it has to be an iterable. In this particular case, it is range 10. Iterable can be anything, right? It could be a list also. 1, 2, 3, as we have seen. You could construct a list or dict or set or tuple or range or a string, any iterable type object, and you can pass it over here. So the general form of list comprehension is expression on an item for item in iterable, right? If you see this particular structure, you can immediately recall that, hey, we are talking about a list comprehension and I know how to understand this. Okay, now let's go back over. Okay, let's tweak this example a little further to make it more interesting. Okay, now I'm doing a squaring of all the I in range 0 to 9, but what if I want to add a condition also over here that do it only for all the i's which is even. So I modulo 2, this is the sign of modulo. We have already seen this in past videos. This is modulo. So I modulo 2 means I divided by 2, the remainder should be 0. When the remainder will be 0? When we divide by 2 an even number, then the remainder will be 0. So I'm adding an if condition also. And the way to read this is again from left to right. What you are going to give me? You are going to give me I square for I in range 10. Range 10 is from 0 to 9. Based on what condition? Based on this condition. If this condition is true, then only do that. If this condition is false, don't do that. So this will be evaluated into a boolean true or false. So I modulo 2 is equal to 0 when I is, this is when I is, let's say 2 modulo 2 becomes 0, this condition becomes true, and then it should print I square over here. So let's run it over here. Okay, so this is, as you can see, and we were anticipating, it is only doing the value where I modulo 2 stands true or the even numbers. For 3 it has not printed, for 5 it has not printed, for 7 and 9 it has not printed. It is only printing for 0, 2, 4, 6 and 8. Okay, so what we can do, we can make the list comprehension little more complex also, and by adding a if condition also, right? You can add any boolean conditions. So the generic form changes to, the first is expression of item for item in iterable with a boolean condition. This will become a generic form of list comprehension. Okay, now let's see one more interesting example over here. Okay, so I'm writing as my sentence is equal to learn with ML with AP. Okay, and let me write it this, and friends watch it and then see that what it is going to print. Okay, for words in sentence dot split. Okay, now friends, think carefully what it is going to print over here, and I will help you that what it is going to print. Before I print, let me run it one my turn, and then things will become much more clear. If my iterable in this particular structure, this sentence dot split should be an iterable, Let's see whether it is an iterable or not. Okay. Sentence, I made a mistake over here. I defined it as my sent, so it should be my sent dot split. Okay. So split is a function which goes on a string, and the default is white spaces. So it has split into 3 elements into a list, learn with ML with AP. The default for a split is, you can change it anytime, but default is usually a white space. So my sentence is split into 3 words, learn with ML with AP. So, and this is what type of data type is that? If you can see, it is evident that it is showing it over here with a square bracket, but let's see. It's a list data type, right? So list data type is an iterable. So my sent dot split definitely is a iterable object, right? And what it is trying to see? Len words. Len words is an expression on items. An item is words over here. What is len words? Len words is, length is a built-in function again. It calculates the length of the words. Okay. Now friends, think for a moment and tell me what it is going to print. It is going to print or give me a, actually it is going to give me a list with length of words. What is the length of word of each of the word in the sentence, right? Because I'm splitting, so my list is this. My list, again, let me type the list over here. My list is this, and my len word for this len word, this len word, this len word. Let's run it over here. Okay, so 548, as it was expected. The first word has 5 letters, second word has 4 letters, third word had 8 letters. Let's see the same example how we can do this in form of a for loop. Okay, so I did my sentence. Let me construct an empty list over here, and then for words in my sent dot split, it's the same thing. Okay, and then l dot append len words. Okay, I hope that should be it, and at the end I will print, not inside, outside, I'll print L also. So if I'm printing L, see friends, this whole thing was made a very concise, neat way inside one particular line where I have to write 3 or 4 lines over here, right? 5, 4, 8. Okay, so this was the same thing. Now this is what the basic list comprehensions, how to interpret, how to see and visualize it. It is there, right? So again, just for the sake of repeating, let me extend this. The list comprehension structure will be, there will be a condition. We can add it, that condition will be there also, right? And condition has to be a Boolean true, false type condition. Okay, this is the more generic form, okay, of list comprehension. If you see something in this structure, you can immediately recognize that it's a list comprehension. Okay, now friends, there are you can create multiple iterations also. So now we have one iterable also, one iterable object. You can have multiple iterable objects also in list comprehension. Let's see the examples, and everything will become clear with an example. Okay. Okay, let me first write it down. Okay, suppose I want to construct a tuple, a list of tuples. Okay, and let me just write it first, and then probably I can explain. Okay, so friends, let's see. First, it's a list comprehension. Why? Because I'm creating a list over here, and by putting a comprehension logic over here, you can see that, okay, this is an expression which is, I'm constructing a tuple with I variable. Okay, this is my variable, and this is an iterable object. Now this is a multiple iterable object. One more iterable object is also present over here. So let's see. And Python is very readable, so try to read it with me. So friends, let's see what it is trying to do. Let's try to read it from left to right. Okay, the first thing is very clear that it is trying to construct a list, and it is a type of comprehension which is inside this. With a square bracket, we know it's a list. Inside that, the structure represents a comprehension, but it is little different from what we have learned till now. Let's see. The expression is ij. It is trying to construct a tuple. Okay, so this will become a list of tuples. Then again, for I is the variable or the item. In there is an iterable. We have another iterable also over here, and another for loop. So this something is going funny over here, and there are two iterable objects, right? And two for loops, right? Let's try to see what it is. So again, tuples over here. For the first value of the tuple, from where I am getting, for I in range 2. For the second value of tuple, where I am getting it from, for j in range 3. So friends, comprehension is powerful enough to have a multiple iteration or a nested for loop also being done through a single line. Okay, let's try to run this thing. What it is constructing? It is constructing a list of tuples 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2. Because the range of I starts from 0, 1. So 0 and 1. The range of j is 0 till 3. 3 is not included. 0, 1, 2. So it is 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now if we have to write the same thing in a more expanded version, how we'll write? Again, I will construct an empty list, and for I in range, I was range 2, and then j in range 3, and l dot append, and what I am appending? I am appending a tuple I comma j. I hope this is correct, and towards the end I am coming out of the loop and I am printing L. Okay, for I in. Okay, sorry. In is a keyword. I have to write A. Okay. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Again, the same tuple which we essentially got from the list comprehension, we are getting again from the lib. So this particular piece of nested for loop can easily be accomplished by one line, which is a list comprehension. Now readability portion, in my personal opinion, sometime to use list comprehension is good because it is very concise. But if you are putting lot of logic inside comprehension, it's better to go with for, because in our human brains, I think it's much easier to understand for loop than this type of nested for looping inside a list comprehension. This is just my personal opinion. I believe that this particular code is still more readable in some way. Okay. So friends, earlier I was saying that we have this list comprehensive, and we have a counterpart of list comprehension in sets also, in dicts also. Let's quickly see the examples. Okay, they run very similar to that. Apart from what they are constructing, here we are getting a list out of it. In that case, we'll get a set out of it, right? That is the only difference. But let's see a quick example. So we'll go ahead with our square examples for I in range 10, right? And I'm going to run this. Okay, let's see if I store this value into something, and then I am getting the type of that. It is getting me a set instead of a list. I'm using a curly parenthesis, and it is giving me a set. So all the values of set, all the methods and attributes of set will still be applicable to this also. Okay, fine. Let's quickly see a dict also, right? So we have a dict comprehension also, which is sometimes used. Let's see what a dict comprehension is. So how do we create a dict? We create a dict with key value pair separated by a semicolon, not semicolon, but colon. This is a colon, right? So this is how we create a dict. Now, how will we create a dict comprehension? Obviously, we have to pass a key value pair, right? So let's say we are doing a key value pair of, the key will be the number, the value will be, it's a square. Okay, so I specified that for I in range 10 again over here. So friends, think for a moment what it is going to print. It is going to give me a dict, that's for sure, because I am creating a dict over here with a curly with a curly parenthesis, and I am doing a colon over here. So I'm doing a key value also. So I'm asking for a dict in return, right? What it will give? It will give the key as I, value as I square. Okay, let's see. As usual, as expected, it gives 0, 0, 1, 1. 2 square is 4, 3 square is 9, 9 square is 81. Beautiful. Now, what type of object it has created? Uh, so let me just put this into X, and again we'll do a type of X over here, and it has created a dict value. So friends, I hope our list comprehension, set comprehension, or comprehension in general is now very clear to you, that what comprehension, why we are using it. It is short, beautiful piece of code, right? And instead of writing 3-4 lines, you can write into 2 or line. You can create always a list comprehension by square bracket, a set comprehension, a dict comprehension. What is the general structure? The general structure of a comprehension is again expression of item for items in iterable, and then you can optionally pass a condition also. Till here it is mandatory, you have to pass for a comprehension, but optionally you can put a if loop also, if condition also, which will result in a boolean true or false, as we have seen. So friend, I will take a pause over here. I hope you enjoyed this session on comprehension. When we meet next time, we are going to discuss about generators and what they are, why these are used. But the concept of generator is built on top of iterators. So if you have not gone through iterator videos, please go through that, and comprehension. So we'll build our intuition on top of iterators and comprehensions, and then we'll jump into generators and why these, where these are used in Pythons. So that's it for this video. Thank you.